Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm at the lovely church of St Gastyn in the Brecon Beacons. This church is located right next to a really large, beautiful lake. Unfortunately, because of all the rain we've had here in Wales, the lake is actually very flooded, but luckily it's not endangering the church. I visited this church on a Sunday morning, right before the Sunday service, which I actually stayed for and really enjoyed. It's a very remote place. There's only really one house here, which is next to this church, and that used to be the old school. And I think it was closed in 1925 and made into a house. So I was very surprised that the congregation was around 40 people, and it's quite a small church, and we'll have a look inside now. So I arrived about 9:30 in the morning, and I was very happy to find the door was not locked. So I assume it is open every day, but please do check before you come and visit. Walking inside the church, it's really dark, but I'm really happy to say it's got electricity and the lights all work. Also, the door in this church does stay open, so it lets even more light in. The first thing you notice is the lovely tiles on the floor and the beautiful font. I couldn't find a date on it, so I'm not sure how old it actually is. The tower is in the west, left when you first walk in the church, and you'll come across your first stained glass window. This window is called Christ with Children, and it was made in 1849. Inside the tower there hangs four bells, one from 1931, one from 1878, one from 1714, and the last one from 1674. And they still work as they rang the bells before the service. This church is known as a Tractarian church, which emerged in the 19th century, particularly associated with the Oxford movement. This movement, which began in the 1830s, aimed to restore certain traditional Christian practices and beliefs within the Church of England, emphasising the importance of the Church's role in society and its historical roots. Tractarians believed that the Church should maintain its rights and privileges, advocating for the restoration of older Christian traditions and liturgical customs that were seen as lost during the Reformation. In the 1830s, this building was in a really bad state, and it was rebuilt by the end of the 1840s. It's such a nice, bright church. The builders of old never cease to amaze me. They are so much more talented than today's builders. The paintings on the east wall are out of this world, and I assume they're original from the rebuilding of this church. The east window was also made in 1849 and is called Christ with the Virgin Mary and St John. It's a free light window with standing figures of Christ in the centre holding a cross and making a blessing, between Mary with a book and lily, and John with a quill and his eagle symbol. On the north wall of the sanctuary is the Baptism of Christ. This was made in 1849 as well. And on the south wall of the sanctuary, Christ walking on water, again 1849. To the right of the chancel, you'll find this lovely little room where the organ is situated. It's locked inside this iron gates, and as the sign says, it's a very special organ designed by Joseph W. Walker of London, and I believe this is the same maker that built the organ in St Stephen's, which was my previous video. So that's another really important feature of this church, and it's probably one of the reasons it's a Grade 2 star listed building, which was designated on the 17th of January 1963. Back to the windows. This is another stunning one made by Clayton and Bell in around 1901, and it's of St Luke. And I love these brass memorial plaques underneath the windows so you can read who it's dedicated to. On the opposite side, another one from Clayton and Bell from around 1872. This is of Saint Perpetua. This is my favourite one, again by Clayton and Bell, and made around 1908. It's St George, a single light window with George in armour standing over the vanquished dragon, with a kneeling woman in the background beneath a castle on the hill. This one is called The Presentation of Christ in the Temple, made in the 1870s, again by Clayton and Bell. So, as you can see, if you'd like to visit the church, there's plenty of things to look at, including the 10 stained glass windows here. Let's head outside and take a look at the glorious graveyard. The graveyard is very well looked after, and there's some lovely graves here. And one very special one I'll show you in a minute. The exterior of the building seems to be in very good condition, with no issues with the roof, which makes a nice change. If you'd like to know more facts about this church and indeed other ones, I've actually just made a website and I'll put the link in the description. And my goal for that will be when I visit like special churches like this one, I'll give you my normal video. And I know I miss so many things because it's hard to like document everything in one short film. So if you go to the website, you'll find a lot more details on the actual church itself, and there'll be lots of pictures there because I know a lot of you say I move too fast with the camera, which I do get, and you want to start reading the gravestones or memorials. So that's the place to go to. And as I'm slowly getting better and learning new skills, hopefully that web page will get better and better, and it'll be a place that people can go and find out a wealth of knowledge. So as promised, I'll show you this really unique gravestone that I found, and this is Sir Thomas Lewis. He was born in Cardiff on the 25th of December 1881 and died aged 63 on the 17th of March 1945 in Rickmansworth, England. Thomas was a pioneer cardiologist and wrote many published papers on the anatomy of the heart. During World War One, he studied the symptom called soldier's heart and published a textbook on his findings. In 1921, he was knighted by George V for this work. At his own request, he was buried here in the graveyard by the lake where he had once fished and studied nature as a young boy. As I walked around the graveyard, I must have counted about 11 yew trees, and most of them are quite small and infant. However, there are 3 yew trees here that are classed as being ancient, and that simply means they're 500 years old or older. For those of you who watch lots of my videos, you'll know that I absolutely love the yew, and I'm planning on making a detailed video all about this magnificent tree. So as always, I hope you really enjoyed this video of this beautiful church. We'll have a quick look at the church cross. Now I reckon the base is original, but the actual cross itself is probably when the church was rebuilt. I'll leave you now with some more drone footage, and I shall see you all soon.